Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. An update on the Ukraine front. The Russians continue their drone and ballistic missile attack on Ukraine. No energy facilities struck according to the Ukrainians, but Zelensky keeps pushing for NATO's full-fledged war against Russia, claiming that the Russians attacked energy facilities in Ukraine, therefore breaking the ceasefire ban on energy facilities. Then we have NATO. Remember, NATO is the primary reason why the Russians are in Ukraine. I know it was an attack, unprovoked and unjustifiable, blah, blah, blah. So NATO members could deploy air and naval forces to Ukraine. Could. Why? And we're going to find out who those guys are. Now, the Russians claim that Ukraine again violated energy strike ceasefire, according to Russia. And Trump is upset only with Putin, not with the Ukrainians, regarding this issue. We find out, according to the Ukrainians, that the Russians' offensive in Pokrovsk front stalled. I will show you some maps. And again, Ukraine and NATO to monitor Black Sea ceasefire. Maps to show you what's going on here. And NATO, I think, will not be satisfied until the Russians really smack them over their beaks. So let's start with the first topic, which is the massive Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine. Ukrainska Pravda. This article is from the 31st of March 2025. Ukraine's air defense downs 57 out of 131 Russian drones, 45 decoy UAVs disappear from radar. So we find out where the missiles, which are two Iskander ballistic missiles, were launched, and the Shahed drones. And they say they were attacking Sumy Oblast, Donetsk Oblast, Kharkiv, Kiev, and Zhytomyr. And they are located here. Zhytomyr is here. This is a map of Ukraine, obviously. This is Kiev, so Zhytomyr, Kiev. Then we got Sumy, Kharkiv, and Dnipro right here. So Dnipro, Kharkiv, Kharkov, Sumy, Kiev, Zhytomyr. Let's see where they launched them from. The missiles were launched from Russia's Kursk Oblast. So the missiles came from here, from this oblast, where the invasion of NATO using the Ukrainian baboons occurred, unfortunately. All right. While the drones were launched from the areas of the Russian cities of Oryol, Milerovo, Kursk, Bryansk, and Primorsko-Akhtarsk. So they are located from here, from Bryansk, Kursk, then you got Milerovo is right here, Primorsko-Akhtarsk, again, over the Sea of Azov is right here, Primorsko-Akhtarsk. And I think it was another one, was it? No, Primorsko-Akhtarsk and Bryansk. Or Bryansk, we got it. All right, so next one. Russia hits Ukraine with ballistic missiles and drones. This is the same information where they say that 2 Iskander M ballistic missiles and 131 Shahed drones attacked. Now, it doesn't say here injuring 3 workers, damaging civilian infrastructure. You see, you don't see anything about energy infrastructure, and not even in the other one. Electronic warfare system, nothing like that. So, next one. Russia Today, 31st of March 2025. NATO members could deploy air and naval forces to Ukraine. As I said, one of the primary reasons why the Russians are in Ukraine is because of NATO trying to get in Ukraine. De jure, because de facto they were already there. Several European nations are reportedly shifting away from the idea of sending ground troops to the country. France and UK, these baboons still want to claim importance, and they are irrelevant, but they don't come to terms yet with the reality. Reportedly proposed sending naval and air forces to Ukraine. Naval being right here in the Black Sea. That's where they want to send it. But we want to go over it in a minute. The two NATO countries are also backing a European-led reassurance force deployed to Ukraine cities and sites away from the front lines, but which has been met with resistance from other bloc members. A French-British military team plans to visit Ukraine in the coming weeks to assess needed troops numbers and potential deployment locations. These guys are way ahead of their skis. Anyway, the European focus has also shifted to air and sea power. They want to do that, my friends. Why? And this is what I say, due to concerns over whether the West would be able to maintain a large deployment of ground troops, while some NATO members have proposed using their assets to patrol the skies or the Black Sea. So I told you many times before, these guys want to implement a no-flight zone over Ukraine. That is, whatever flies over Ukraine, we, the defenders of truth and peace, we're gonna down. That means we are actively involved in the war, like really actively involved. And in the Black Sea. So why Black Sea? Let's look over this beautiful map here. All right, so you have the Black Sea, you have baboons in Romania, you have the guys in other Romania, and that's how we'll call Moldova from now on, other Romania. Here's Odessa, this is whatever is left of Ukraine, I will show you on this map. All right, where are you, baby doll? All right, so we are obviously in this area. Where the hell are you? Right there. So this is the Black Sea in this area. So they want to patrol here and probably do a little no-flight zone over Ukraine. NATO wants to do that. Why? NATO wants the Black Sea to be called Marea Nostri. That is our sea. Like the Romans called the Mediterranean Sea, because they surrounded it with their troops and their provinces. So let's go back to these baboons and see what they say. However, some European officials doubt that a ceasefire, a precondition for deploying troops, will be reached soon. Well, the Russians will never agree NATO to have troops in Ukraine or in the Black Sea, other than around or along the territorial waters of Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. Nothing else. That's it. I guarantee you that. They will hit them hard. Next. Ukraine again violated energy strike ceasefire, Russia claims. Remember, here they want to just put a foot in the door more than they, how should I put it? Not they need, because they don't need to put a foot in the door, but they think they need. But NATO tries to get in through the back door. The Russians will never allow that to happen. So let's see what the Ukrainians are doing, hitting energy facilities in Russia, according to the Russians. 31st of March 2025, Ukraine again violated energy strike ceasefire, Russia. Kiev launched an artillery and drone attack on power grid infrastructure in border Bryansk region. Bryansk, where are you, Bryansk? Right here, this is Bryansk region, according to the Russians. According to the Russians. All right, Ukraine has again violated the moratorium on strikes on energy infrastructure by launching 2 attacks on the power grid in Russia's border Bryansk region. Russian President Putin agreed to hold strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure for 30 days, following a phone call with U.S. counterpart. Moreover, Moscow, however, accused Ukraine of violating the ceasefire almost immediately, with several similar breaches occurring in the following days. Why I picked this one? Just to show you that if you read the other side, which most likely is greatly available to all of us, understand that it's not only these guys are doing something, the Russians are doing something to Ukrainians. The Ukrainians / NATO is also doing something to the Russians. That's why I picked this article. Now, if you think the Russians are lying, then you should think the same way of NATO and Ukraine lying. Unless you think that these guys are saints, which, no. All right, let's see what the Ukrainians claim about the Pokrovsk front. This is according to New Voice of Ukraine. Russian offensive stalls on Pokrovsk front, Ukrainian army chief says. Okay, where is Pokrovsk? Pokrovsk is in the Donetsk Oblast, and it's called Krasnoarmeysk by the Russians, right here. So the Ukrainians claim the Russians are not going to encircle them here or block their supply lines here and here. I predict this will happen. Maybe indeed they stalled, the offensive, but we'll find out. Maybe these guys are gonna conduct a counteroffensive and they're gonna go straight from Pokrovsk, from Pokrovsk, to Moscow. All right, it's baboonish, you know that, right? Let's see what details these guys are giving us. I'm guessing they're gonna give us only a statement. Russia's military is focusing its offensive efforts on the Pokrovsk front, but is making little progress. But it's making progress, right? Yeah, that's what they say. Alexander Syrsky is Russian, ethnic Russian, but he's in charge of the Ukrainians, as Zelensky is ethnic or racially with and Umerov, the defense minister of Ukraine, is Tatar. But hey, anyway, Syrsky detailed a comprehensive video conference reviewing the Ukrainian military activities in March 2025. And thanks to the managerial decisions made and the resilience of Ukrainian soldiers, this task was partially accomplished, in particular with regard to Pokrovsk sector. A statement. Okay, and the evidence is what? Alright, let's see. Situation is Pokrovsk. February, we don't care that. February, we don't go there. Let's see, maybe they have something. Here, in the Donetsk Operational Tactical Grouping Operational Zone, the enemy is concentrating his main offensive efforts, but is effectively stalled. Okay. Ukrainian forces are employing active strikes tactics where possible. Since early March, Ukrainian artillery has executed approximately 100,000 fire missions, and drone operators have completed over 81,700 combat missions, including 158 strikes using deep strike capabilities. Okay, statements. Good. Next one, and the last topic. The new voice of Ukraine, 30th of March 2025. Ukraine plus NATO. Why? Why NATO? Monitor Black Sea ceasefire after U.S. Russia talks. Why NATO? Well, we have our sphere of influence. Only Russia can't have spheres of influence, but everybody else, like Israel, the United States of America, and it's about it. Ukraine and its allies. Oh, they have allies. They are in charge of you, Ukraine. Don't make a fool of yourselves. Are closely monitoring the situation in the Black Sea. And then what? Using a broad range of technical tools, including satellite, surface, air, and underwater surveillance systems, Ukrainian Navy spokesperson Dmytro Pletenchuk said during a national TV broadcast on March 29. Ukraine monitors it with binoculars. That's all it's fucking doing. Binoculars. That's all it got. Our sailors and our branches of the military are using various tools, satellites or what, to monitor activity. How many satellites do you have? Oh, you're activating others or accessing others to monitor activity on the surface, underwater, and in the air. Pletenchuk emphasized that the Black Sea is not just a Ukrainian-Russia issue, it's also NATO. Why is NATO? Because NATO is over there. How did NATO get over there? Expanding itself. The Black Sea also borders 4 other countries, 3 of which are NATO members. Why are those countries NATO members? Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. Why are they? Because the West, the gentlemen, the civilized, the capitalists, the Democrats West, they lied to the evil Russians. When? In 1991. When Mr. James Baker, the Secretary of State of the United States of America, told the Russians, hey, if you agree to this part of the bargain, the deal, to allow Germany to unify, the unification of Germany, if you agree with that, we, United States, in the name of the United States of America, I promise you, NATO will not expand 1 inch eastward. And the uncivilized baboons, communist, evil, the Russian says, okay, let's do it. All right, we agree with that. And they allowed Germany to unify. So the Russians kept their part of the deal, their bargain. They kept it, even though they are the bad dudes. And the civilized, with the Jobin, West, capitalists, civilized and cultured, and Democrats and capitalists, did not. So, that's how it all started. And the Russians never forgot that. Maybe these guys forgot, but they didn't. The other guys did not. So that's how these guys got to border here, okay, to be here. That's how. And I'm not talking about Turkey. Turkey was a NATO member state. I think it was one of the initiators or something like this. It was a long time ago. But these two right here definitely should not have been. But so they lied. The civilized West lied in 1991. That's how we started. And then they advanced first expansion, then the second, then the third, and they got to the Black Sea. And they got the borders of Russia through territorial Europe, including the baboons in the Baltic states, the Poles. But the Poles, don't have. They have, but Baltic states, I think 2 countries, Estonia and Latvia, have borders with Russia. Is it Latvia too? I know Lithuania is not. That's for sure. I know Estonia is. But nevertheless, here they are. And now they got Sweden and Finland as well. They lied. They lied. Now, I don't know about you, but when you lie about something so serious, I will smack you. All right? Don't lie to me like that. How am I smacking you? Well, talking nicely. My friends, that's the way it is. You know the origin of all this garbage, but these guys are trying to baboon us by picking and choosing what arguments they want to use in order to fit their narrative, and they start not chronologically. Their chronology starts on the 24th of February 2022. That's where they like to start history, right there. And then they pick and choose from the past things to fit the narrative. They don't open the gate and say, okay, we go to 1990 with the collapse of the Soviet Union, 1991, and blah, 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 and with the Eastern Bloc, the Iron Curtain just decided to drop. No, with the understanding. And when the understanding was made between the guys in the Soviet Union and the guys in the West, which were the Americans, it was an understanding. Again, the West broke the understanding, lied. I'm sorry, we are on the side of the liars. We are part of it. How can we change that? Well, I have a few solutions with Ukraine, NATO. Well, are you a gentleman or you're a thug? If you're a thug, the Russians will fight like they fight with a thug. If you're a gentleman, probably the Russians will negotiate as they try to negotiate in October, November, December 2021 and January and February 2022. But the gentlemen, the liars in the West, says, what are you going to do? You're going to attack? Go ahead. Our companies are waiting to make record profits. Who are they? Well, the banking system, the military-industrial complex, and the energy industry. Good job. And then when the Russians did it, those guys uncorked the champagne and everybody had a real symposium. You know what symposium is? The original symposiums in ancient Greek. Well, read about them. That's exactly what they did. Minus the debates, because these guys are just, they're not Greeks. They're not Europeans, They have their own bazaar-style parties. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.